it's March the 10th, and there's a familiar sound of spring in the air. Well, even if we don't find anything invertebrate wise, it makes for a pleasant scenic walk today. Temperature is up to 15 centigrade as I was just arriving here. It had been 14.5, and it does indeed feel 15 centigrade. It's lovely. May well do a large circular walk here and come back down and survey for glowworm larvae while I'm in the area. In the meantime, as part of that circular walk, or proposed circular walk, I'm going to go left of screen and continue up here past some beautiful veteran oaks up towards the Black Pool. And this is very much your typical orange underwing habitat. It's widespread in the Sherwood Forest area and at heathland sites, and is not a moth that you'll see at close quarters, at least not very often. Sometimes you could potentially see it at close quarters, but usually as you've flushed it when it's been sat on a path a yard or two in front of you. Your typical view of this beautiful day-flying moth is flying at around 20 to 30 feet off the ground at the height of these silver birches that you can see either side of this forest track in front of you. They fly highest actually sort of late morning period and early afternoon, and it's during the late afternoon and early evening on warm spring afternoons and evenings that they do start to fly lower. In fact, I remember Dillis and I catching one at such a time once, and the purpose of catching one was to photograph it. You need to be adept with a net, hopefully she won't mind, and you also need to be able to put on a bit of a sprint. But typically, flying across between trees like this is your typical view of this beautiful day-flying moth. Here's a super old veteran at the side of the track here. It's a cracking specimen that's rejuvenated a lot. Most of the top that you can see there now is rejuvenation. Over the years, as you can tell, it's had a few bits and bobs ripped off it, but it's positively thriving. And looking at the buds now, the buds are definitely swelling, which is often fatal at Sherwood Forest because we always have a late frost, typically in the first week of May, and that doesn't half catch a lot of oaks out, or at least the lower branches of oaks. It'll no doubt happen sometime this year, and the best place to see the effects of it are always by the Gleethorpe Open within the country park, almost as if you've sprayed with weed killer up to a height of about 4 feet or 5 feet off the ground. It's a pure, sharp line between frosted new growth and growth that's remained frost-free. I've just come past the Black Pool. In fact, it's only just over there, just on a different track now, going round the outside of Blackpool Plantation. But years ago, there was an interesting building, and I believe it was just here. And there's some clues for that. My old mother-in-law, she could remember the building standing. I believe it was demolished in 1954 because it was unsafe. It was the old Duke of Portland's Russian hunting lodge. The reason why I think it was here where it stood is because of the vegetation. In this part of the forest, there's some really strange species of plants. There's a big area here of Skimmia japonica. That's not what you get in Sherwood Forest, is Skimmia japonica. But also there's the large leaved ivy here, which now carpets this entire area, including going up the trees there and over there. There's a lot of Rhododendron ponticum here, and laurel as well, although laurel does seem to occur in patches in this part of the forest. You never realise what history's around you, do you? The birds occult it, just in case you are wondering. This is the next stage of my walk along this track here. To your right, as you look at this is Blackpool Plantation, which then runs further down there into Clipson Old Quarter. This path, just a little bit further down here, marks the very limits of our old glowworm survey route. This top path was pitch black, but it was quite entertaining when glowworms were here. They started to die out quite a bit at one time, but we did get good numbers one particular year, because at the time it was almost a closed canopy over this path, just a narrow strip of lightish sky. All of the female glowworms that appeared along here were like cat's eyes in the middle of the path. It was quite remarkable. You could move each glowworm once we'd counted it to the side of the path against its marker. But when you came back the next night, if it had not been mated, they were all slap bang in the middle of the path. Well, some good news. You may well be able to see honeybees. I'm at the centre tree now, and after no activity so far this year that I've seen, this wild colony of honeybees is very active. Lots of coming and going. It's been here pretty much as long as I can remember. Let's say there has been times when it's been vacated, but thankfully they're back in residence. Now I've just started walking down section D, checking for glowworm larvae, and on the basis of the find that's in front of you now, I'm going to be coming back up here this evening and doing a proper later survey for glowworm larvae. The beetle that's in front of you is one, to be honest, we rarely find, and it's the pill beetle. This one is Burrus pilula. Found it a couple of times over the years on this path, but this is by no means an everyday occurrence to find it. I'll show you in a minute why it's called pill beetle, but first of all, let's see if I can get a shot from a different angle. Now, it's a pretty unobtrusive species, pill beetle. Occasionally I've found the odd pair of them underneath a log or something similar, but to find a beetle, let alone an invertebrate, out on the path is a good sign for a possible glowworm larva later on, or even on the walk back down towards the car. Pill beetles get their name by being able to retract all the legs, so that the legs, when they're pulled into grooves specially designed underneath the beetle, no appendages can be accessed by prey. Basically, it becomes like an oval pill, hence the name pill beetle. So it's a nice find, this. A long time, well, it's a year or two since I found one of these. So this is the pill beetle, Burrus pilula, and it's usually the commonest of the pill beetles that we've recorded here in Sherwood Forest. And see, and it does move. Like lightning, isn't it? Well, never did find a glowworm larva, but it is only early afternoon, so I may well come back in a bit. Clouds slowly building, and I think it's worth coming back and having a proper walk up and down later on. But it was nice to find a pill beetle on the path. Didn't expect that at all. Ended up getting a third Orange Underwing, so they're obviously well out and about now. Didn't get any butterflies though. Still, plenty of time yet. The season's only just begun.